quiet.
Hey, what's up? I'm Roller Coaster Rider,
Hi. Okay.
and welcome to the European adventure with a group of enthusiasts that because I want to post this on multiple Facebook. Why'd you do that?
I don't know.
Because I want to post this on multiple Facebook channels. I'm not going to say the name of them, but they're a good crew.
Yep. Give me the list.
Okay,
Come on.
we're a little
Still kind of sleep deprived.
yeah, and jet lagged and stuff, and we heard that something happened with one of my friends' wife, and get checked for Lyme disease.
Yep.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, so we flew on our private jet from O'Hare to Kennedy,
Really?
right?
Yes, JFK.
And then we had to refuel because you know how these private jets are with us.
Yeah, we had to get on a bigger jet.
No, we had to get on another jet.
And then we left JFK a little late, and about an hour and a half late, sitting on the runway, pulled out from the gate, waiting for takeoff, in which I watched almost the whole Lego movie before we took off.
I slept.
Yep, you were asleep already. I don't sleep well on planes, so
Remind me next time we go on our private jet. Bring those packets of hot cocoa for you. We can mix them with water. Problem
private
is,
jet doesn't have room for a pilot if both of us are on it.
you are aware that private jets can have a pilot as well as passengers, right?
Are you thinking of a Learjet? Anyway,
A
let's
private.
let's just get.
You're
to
telling
where
me
we're
Air
going.
Force One doesn't have.
Air Force One is huge. Can we just get back to where we're
So
heading?
anyway, we landed in Frankfurt.
Yes.
Then we did a bus ride, and we got to talk with a couple of other enthusiasts that are on the trip. We're going to the Holiday Inn, and we checked out the. That was the Holiday Inn, right? Or the
No, was it
Comfort Inn.
Comfort Inn.
Sorry.
Comfort Hotel, Frankfurt Airport South or something.
West, I believe.
West, East, North.
So basically, I chatted with a bunch of people that had been on the trip before and new people.
And some people were waiting for the room.
Mhm.
Some people were waiting. They were going to do a hop on, hop off of Frankfurt.
Yeah, they were gonna do a tour of the city.
Yeah.
I think we slept for a couple of hours then.
Took a nap.
Excuse
me.
And then we got up, and I got to mingle with a bunch of people. I got to mingle with In the Loop's Water Park Messiah Ranger. I got to meet up with Beard Man, who's I don't know if it was that night, but I think I tried asking him, like, what are you the expert of? And should I say what it is? It's kind of PG-13.
No, you don't need to. We
also
we had registration, and then we had a dinner. It was a dinner buffet. And then
I think there was potato salad.
Yeah, that's where we met
Debbie.
No, Cassie.
Oh yeah, Cassie and James. 1 second,
Jimmy.
folks. Okay, Jimmy instead of James. I said something to Jimmy about his wife, who he said it was okay. She said it was okay, but okay, I haven't told you yet, have I?
No, and I don't want to.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
You know what? No, just let's get on with the trip, okay?
I also got to
meet
Dan the T-shirt guy again, and I got to meet Aunt Sue, and I did my Dan the T-shirt guy impression, which I think he laughed at. He liked it. Was like, Dan the T-shirt guy here, calling into Coaster Radio for this week's interactive listener topic.
Okay, are we going to talk about other people, or can we please talk about the trip? Okay, thank
fine,
you.
That's it.
Then let's get...
Okay, so then
we all go to bed.
Then we go to bed. Oh, one last
We
thing.
have to get up.
One
leave
last
the
thing I
hotel.
want to say about one last thing I want to say about that night. I got to make Ranger laugh, and I felt very proud of that. And according to him, I'm his biggest fan,
Okay,
which is awesome.
good for you.
Okay, we left late.
Well, they were trying to check out of the hotel.
And we went to Movie Park Germany.
Yep.
Now, this bus was a little different than the last bus in that it had drinks available of both wet and dry. Like it had soda, it had water, it had coffee. I think it had beer, did it?
It had beer and
Okay.
wine.
It had beer and wine. And, as per my request, it had a bathroom.
Yep.
I don't know how many people, I think like a bunch of people used it. Like,
Yes, more men than women.
I'm sorry.
No, hey, it's okay.
And then it became very sadly apparent that we weren't going to have much of any time for the ERT for the Star Trek Enterprise coaster.
But I think in the end it worked out.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got to ride most everything you wanted.
There was one that I...
Just go through the list quickly. What you rode. Let me see it.
There was one that I wanted.
Can I see it?
No, not yet. There was one I wanted to ride, but we didn't have time. If we had maybe another half hour, I probably could have, or if I had managed my time a little better, maybe. It's not on your list.
Okay. I don't think I had Movie Park Germany on any of mine, did I?
Nope.
No.
I
I think it was a roller coaster day for you, I think.
There were two things. There were two things you could have done. You could have done the Dora the Explorer log flume, and there was one thing that you did do, which was the Lost Temple walkthrough.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, Movie Park Germany, it's...
Oh, was that the one with the big ape?
No, that was Babajan Land.
Oh. Okay.
So anyway...
They just kind of, after a while, kind of all blend.
Yeah, there was one day where, oh gosh, I feel like a jerk, I don't remember her name. Diagonal to us. What was her name?
The librarian?
Yeah.
I don't remember. She was from Ohio.
Yeah,
She was a librarian.
please stop doing that, it makes the camera shake. Anyway, I think I had said, like, we went to Phantasialand, like, 2 days ago, and she was like, no, we went yesterday. I'm like, oh, well. Anyway, we got a Speedy Pass, so we essentially got the Platinum Flash Pass, or the Gold Fast Lane, or whatever it is, whatever it's called, where you visit theme parks.
Oh, that was the park that you did the water ride first.
Yes, and that's also the one that has the all-day dining pass. Or we also had an all-day dining pass, which included half-off alcohol. Which, to my disappointment, the bus ride afterwards was not as, for he's a jolly good fellow, dialogue as I would have wished.
Why?
I was thinking there were going to be a lot of drunk people on the bus.
But we had 2 more parks yet.
Yeah, but you had
Okay.
half-off alcohol in Movie Park Germany. Some
Yeah,
people,
but
I think,
you
only
were
had like
trying.
3.
You had to really move quickly by the time we got our pass to get everything done. And if you went to the group lunch and all of that, so.
So anyway, the first thing I did was the Area 51 log flume. Now, disclaimer here, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna spoil this. This is an awesome log flume.
Okay, how's that spoiling it?
Well, because I'm about to say details about it. The way I would describe it is, imagine if Universal Studios, and I hate this comparison because it's not always true, but in this case it is. Imagine if Universal Studios built Dudley Do-Right to be Jurassic Park today, but they themed it to Men in Black. Or they themed it to, like, Alien Encounter. Because that's essentially what it is. You go through this ride, which what I didn't know was you went forwards and backwards. It had multiple lifts, it had multiple drops, and it had a bunch of effects and theming all working, which is awesome, considering how the attraction apparently isn't supposed to open until next year.
Right, they were
They were
still working on
soft testing it.
Yeah.
So one park official said, "Don't sit in row 3, you get wet." So I made sure to sit in row 3.
But they didn't have all of
The effects working.
Yeah.
But
So next year you'd probably get very wet.
I can honestly say that even though not if the version I rode was not all of the effects working, holy cow, I can't imagine what it would be like with all the effects working, cuz everywhere you looked there was theming, there were robots, there was aliens, it had screens, you went forwards, you went backwards, you got wet.
Well, even the signage though was a lot of American.
Yeah.
Which, I was surprised
at how bilingual some of these parks were.
Right, and with a lot of
some of them weren't.
Armed forces, and
there were at least 2 of them that weren't, and we'll get to those. Trust us. Oh, speaking of Movie Park Germany, one thing I do want to mention is it is actually amazing at how detailed this park is when it comes to costuming. For example, the people that run Area 51 are in, Area 51 military garb. The people on the Star Trek coaster, they're wearing like they're wearing like Starfleet Academy shirts. It's actually pretty cool.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, you did more of the rides and walkthroughs than I did.
Oh, so. And I guess German people or European people don't like to sit next to strangers, apparently, because I was sitting by myself in a row, and there was someone who had a backpack, and I was like, "Hey, I'll hold on to your backpack. Why not? I've got room." They're like, "Okay," or however Germans talk. But yeah, that seemed to be the case. After that, then we did Lost Temple, which I thought was a walkthrough, which is incredibly well themed, sort of knockoff Indiana Jones. And then it turned out to be a ride that kind of banged you around, and I was like, "Okay."
I wasn't riding.
Okay, there's the exit.
Well, you had to be escorted out.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't going to ride, you had to stand in a certain area and then get escorted.
The attraction was pretty dumb, personally. Apparently, it's similar to Fast and Furious in Orlando. I haven't been on that, so I can't confirm. But what I can say is, imagine disaster if the screens, instead of being in front of you, were on the side, and it was in 3D, but it was really only in 2D.
And there are glasses, right?
Yeah, but there's no difference between 2D and 3D.
Oh, okay.
And there was no exploding grandma. You don't know what I'm talking about? At the end of Disaster, that movie trailer, there was a grandma that just exploded or blew up.
Okay.
Then it was time to go into Nickland, which is literally a third of this park. It's like 4 themed lands. It's like the entrance, the Wild West area, some unknown mishmash, and then a whole chunk of it is Nickland. Imagine if Magic Kingdom was just Main Street USA, Adventureland, Fantasyland, and Tomorrowland. So Hong Kong Disneyland, basically. I'm sorry.
Excuse you.
And I went on the Backyardigans Mission to Mars roller coaster. I was wondering why the line was so long. It's because they send you around twice.
That's okay, isn't it?
Yeah. Kind of hurts lines a little bit.
It was a family coaster or something?
Yeah, it was a junior coaster. It was similar to Space Fleets at Great America, or Flight of the Hippogriff at Universal Orlando, or smaller version of Woodstock Express at Cedar Point. Just Google Vekoma Roller Skater, it's similar to that. After that, then I went on Jimmy Neutron's Atomic Flyer. I was going to go with a member from the group. What? I was going to go with someone from the group, but then I found an empty seat and I was like, "Sorry, dude."
He keeps moving around.
I have a water bottle here.
Yes,
Oh, here
you
it
did.
is. You're not going to say anything? Okay.
I didn't ride. I just did a lot of walking.
And then I did your favorite type of attraction, Ghost Chasers, a mock wild mouse.
Mm.
It might be a
That
Mars
one had a
song.
long line too.
Yeah. Fortunately, skipped the ride pass. I got on in like 5-10 minutes or so. Then it was time to eat at, I'm sorry, I've got the notes over here, at Van Helsing's Club, which, okay, before I get to that, I think we should talk a little bit about Europe's odd water policy.
Right. So
Now,
anyway, wait a minute.
no,
I
just want to do a disclaimer. I am not trying to be one of those, hey, you should do what Americans do because we do things right, partner. I'm not trying to be that.
Excuse me? How many Americans talk like that?
Do you really want me to answer
Okay.
that?
Water is more readily available free in the States. So when we
And
were
so
given...
is water fountains, drinking fountains.
Okay. So when we were given the meal pass, she said water was included, soda and everything, okay?
So we got our bottle of water thinking like, okay, here, we want to use this bottle of water and this Coke as our snack. And they were like, oh, you need to ask us for a cup of water. That way we can pour it out of a water bottle and put it into a cup, and that's your snack. So we ended up having to pay like €3 for a bottle of water.
Water, and you had a juice or something.
No, I had an apple soda, I think.
Yeah. So
Not the only weird soda I had on this trip.
So anyway, we learned that after that.
We were pretty
even
depressed.
though the water bottle was the same as what came out of the cooler,
yeah, there was
they had to take it out and give it to you. So
no.
We had opened them already.
No, they didn't take them out. They already had one that was already opened that they then poured into cups.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was dumb.
But we opened our bottles, so they could not accept them to pour into cups.
I'm sorry, that's kind of dumb. I'm sorry.
And there's more of that, tonic water, whatever?
Sparkling or bubbly water.
With gas.
Why are you complaining? I accidentally had it twice.
So did I.
The first time at the table, we had 2 bottles. One was still and one was sparkling. We drank the still one very fast, and then Kay said, oh, hey, there's another bottle. I'm like, okay, I'll pour it.
Oh, yuck.
Here, you try it. I think it's old.
Yeah.
And then we knew that we had like an hour and a half bus ride or so. Yeah, or 2 or whatever, however long bus ride. And so Kay got a bottle of water, and I was like, yummy, let me try. Kay, you finish it. So, we refilled bottles there. And I also got to try like Pepsi or Coke Light, which is essentially Diet Coke, pretty much. I didn't really notice the difference in taste and anything. I think we also had ribs. It was weird at this buffet. Ice cream was extra. I thought that was odd.
But at hotel buffets, you could have ice cream in a cone for breakfast.
You could? I didn't see that anywhere.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was at that African place we stayed at.
Oh,
Motanda, something like that. Yeah, people were eating ice cream cones
like
for breakfast.
I didn't see
Anyway,
that.
okay.
I kind of wish I did, but then
we didn't have much time there.
Then maybe I wouldn't have fit on a later coaster, so I'm glad I didn't. I did have ice cream a few times. I had potato salad, I had fries, I had steak, or no, not steak. I had ribs. I had I think that was it. What did you have?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
To be gluten-free means to eat a lot of potatoes. and salad.
Yeah, you had a very
My
vegan.
breakfasts were like scrambled eggs or boiled eggs, cucumber slices, black olives.
I think you had some salmon.
Yeah, I did start to take the fresh salmon, the
Smoked salmon, yeah.
and yeah.
Cassie was like, "Hey, there's smoked salmon. I'm gonna try that." And, she got me hooked.
No,
Again.
Linda did.
No, Cassie.
Oh, Linda was trying it too.
Cassie, I think, was first at
Okay,
the Efteling one. I think.
Whatever.
Yeah, it was Efteling. That
Can
was
you
also
finish up
that
your
was also
rides
one
in
of the
movie
few
park?
ones that had like hot cocoa or chocolate milk for breakfast.
Okay,
We'll get back to something else that we ate.
you ate.
Yeah, something else that I ate. So then we went on Van Helsing's Factory. Um, this is an inside joke. This is Grim Grinning Hosts the Ride. It's themed to Abraham Van Helsing, aka Dracula. And this ride is a lot of fun. It's a Gerstlauer, uh, it's a bobsled coaster, but really they call their wild mice coasters that don't have wild mice layouts. Something like Tony Hawk's Big Spin or Spinning Dragons, except it doesn't spin, but it's similar to that layout. It just whips you. It just whips you around, and it's pretty fun. Ranger talked about it on the recent in the Loop podcast on the 3-star coaster 5-star podcast episode. And
What'd
then
you ride next?
and then the gift shop has all of this like horror stuff. So it's like, man,
Oh, yeah.
Grim Grinning Host. This is Grim Grinning Host's dream. Oof! Whoa!
Justin, be careful.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
She wants fresh air. We have the windows open. It's been a long time, long summer.
Then I went on Star Trek.
Can I see the sheet now? Thank you.
Then I went on Star Trek Operation Enterprise, which is a mock launch coaster that launches you forwards and backwards. Now, there were two things about it that kind of scared me. The first one was that I didn't fit in the test seat, so I was like, you're going to have to really push. I was like really hoping, because I didn't want my like fourth coaster to be one that I couldn't ride. That's a heartbreaker.
Yep.
And the other thing was that I had heard that mock coasters are a little on the tamer side.
But this was a launch coaster, so
Yes,
it shouldn't have.
Still, they say it's pretty lame on like Copperhead Strike and Blue Fire and the Capital Bullet train that Hyde and Ranger and Roxeratops went on in Dubai, which this is the exact same attraction, or clone. This is the exact same type. I wanted to make a joke that I'm the Wesley Crusher. You're entertaining because you're like, I was saying to the to the host, I was like, you see, you're entertaining. You're like Jean-Luc Picard. I'm like, oh, who's that guy? I didn't know who it was until after, so that kind of messed up the joke. But the reason why I was saying it is because I noticed someone in our group wearing a red shirt. And you know what happens with red shirt people on Star Trek.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. You've never heard the red shirt thing?
Do you want? Can I step away and you just finish up movie
No,
park?
come on.
Because
Let's keep going.
I didn't really do anything in movie park but walk around with you. Right?
Well, you can talk about some of the photos you took and some of the theming and stuff.
I don't even remember. We took so many photos.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I disagree. I got airtime several moments, and fortunately, I was able to fit. I thanked the employee who pushed to make me fit. I thanked him a lot. He probably has carpal tunnel. Then I went on Bandit. It's a clone of Viper at Great America, and that's where the similarities end. There's lack of airtime. It's bumpy everywhere. This is an attraction that could either use a GCI makeover or an RMC Iron Horse makeover. And I know RMC is the stock answer to every bad wooden coaster, but trust me, this is a bad wooden coaster.
Worse than, what is it, Mean Streak at
Uh,
Cedar Point?
well, Mean Streak went on forever. This one, you could see the potential of how there could be airtime. It just felt like it was going in like almost half the speed because there's so many trims, and it was just like That is one attraction I hope gets revitalized in the near future. And then I went on MP Express, which, you know,
the SLC.
your guess is as good as mine what that has to do with the Wild West. That's another attraction where, yeah, that could use an overhaul as well. I was thinking, like, if they build a dark ride where Ice Age was, they revamp Bandit, they add new trains and retheme MP Express, and then they add something where the Walking Dead maze is, they'll have a very strong park after that. That's not saying the park is bad. It's just Nickland, Star Trek, and Area 51 are like and Van Helsing are the crown jewels. There's just a lot of, 2-star attractions. Not saying the park is terrible. It's just you can see how they could be even better if they just made a few more changes. What else is next?
Did you look at all the pictures yet?
I looked at some. Then I did Dora's Big River Adventure. Spoiler alert, this is the wettest ride in the park, which amazed me. It's basically a stock carnival. If you go to like a carnival or a fun fair or a boardwalk and they have a log flume, it's probably similar to this. But this is kind of cool in that it has a mountain facade. I'm not sure what it has to do with Dora the Explorer, though, because it really has almost nothing to do with Dora the Explorer, especially compared to the Dora's World Voyage that we rode at Blackpool. It has nothing to do with Dora the Explorer, and it gets you soaked. I was actually amazed at how soaked it got you, but yeah, it got you soaked. The wettest ride in the park. This is not a legend-approved attraction. Then I went on Excalibur Secrets of the Dark Forest. I guess it's themed to Merlin? I guess? But I guess it would be kind of similar to how I imagined Knott's would have built Calico River Rapids today. Minus the Merlin theming. But it was kind of a bummer in that I got off the ride just barely wet.
Mm.
And for me, when I get on a water ride and that is supposed to get you wet and I get off the ride, barely wet, to me that's a disappointment.
Some people don't want to get super wet.
And those people are called people that shouldn't ride wet water rides.
Okay, so after Dora, you did what?
I already told you, I did Excalibur.
Okay.
Then we went back to the bakery.
Just wait. At Movie Park, you were planning to hopefully do about 14 attractions, and we did 11.
Yeah. There's a stand-up drop tower I didn't get to do. Okay, I've done it
Water
before.
whip ride.
Yeah, I would do that later at another park.
And a
Spoiler alert.
simulator.
Yeah. Apparently someone wrote it just because I talk so much about it. I was kind of like the preview person because so many people asked me like, "Hey, what's at this park?" Because some people didn't like look up stuff. So they would say like, "Hey, what's this? What's this? What's this?" And I would tell them. And someone apparently wrote in, he said it's like it's like, I think he said it's like Back to the Future and John Cleese is in it and stuff happens, so I have no idea what the attraction is. Spoiler alert, I would ride another simulator that I'm still not sure what the theme of it was.
Okay, so...
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember.
Leslie Nielsen?
What? Oh, yeah. Okay, so then everybody gets to the bus.
No, wait. We need to talk about...
Oh, everybody stopped at the one bakery.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to get water again.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I'm a little thicker than I was, but then I was thin. At least I hope I was thin. I apparently was thin enough. Let me put it that way. So I was like, what the heck? So I had an Oreo donut. It's a donut where they put Oreo on it. It was actually pretty good. I think I commented that it was the first donut I had had in like 3 years or so.
Really?
At least a year.
I doubt that.
Well, not the
Anyway.
gluten-free donuts you buy.
Okay. Which
So-
is bad.
So then after that, then we left to go to the Cranger Kirmes Fair, or Cranger Kirmes Fair, or Cranger Kirmes Fair. However,
Very crowded.
we're gonna
flea market, Renaissance fair, with a gazillion
entrances and exits.
Oh my god.
Now, Kay, how much should we reveal the end of this story? Should we just
I'll reveal it. Okay.
Okay.
So
But
what
no,
happened?
let's
No, just
So we
just
go to
shh.
so we go to the fair, and please forgive us for our terrible German, Netherlands, and Belgium English translations or dubbing of all of these names. We apologize. We know you're gonna probably look at us as dumb Americans, and you're gonna look at this as nothing more than humor. But we apologize. We're sorry. Okay? We're sorry. We're sorry. Okay? So we go to the fair.
And we
After
all get off the
30
bus.
minutes.
We all get off the bus, and they say, "Stay together."
Mm-hmm.
This place
do stay
is
together.
wall to wall
People. Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching orange orange gym shoes in front of me and a tall person. I was not watching what was on. I watched kind of what was on the sides, but there were a lot of vendors. So like a flea market type, 7 Mile Fair type atmosphere with a Renaissance fair with a state fair, carnival. Yeah.
A
All
Walt
rolled into
Disney,
one.
a Walt Disney, Magic Kingdom day at Knoebels, basically. Would that be a good example? Because that
I
place
don't
has
know.
many entrances and exits.
I don't know.
So
everybody
get
goes to the Olympia looping. It's 5 rings, the colors of
And
the Olympic rings.
Cassie and James had been there the day before, so we were able to get some insider secrets about where stuff was.
Right, but
Can you please stop moving it? I've asked you already.
Okay, stop. But
So-
the thing of it is the way that we were taken in, and it would have been a lot easier than to try and find the bus where the bus
To
was
instead
parked.
meet up at like a ride in
Yeah.
the park.
That would have been easier. So everybody went on the Olympia.
Which I will say, bit of a bumpy ride. But what I found and one downside, only running one train. I do not approve. Because it can run like 5 trains sometimes. Or it could run 5 trains with 7 cars.
Every ride was a different vendor.
And, well, that ride can run 5 trains. We even saw multiple trains. It should have at least ran 2.
Oh well, that's what they decided.
Well, you want to make as much revenue as you can.
Okay.
But what was kind of cool was that the ride had like shock absorbers, so you kind of bounced during the ride. I'm hoping that was intentional. If it wasn't, oh well, I survived. You could tell at this fair they don't have the strongest regard to safety, as there was no gate between the bumper cars or some kiddie rides.
Yeah.
Like I didn't get in trouble, but I walked through some kids' rides where the queue line would usually be, but there was no queue line, so I wasn't really like crossing any bridges or gates. So
Well, after Olympia looping,
then I went on the Wild Mouse XXL, and
everybody headed over to there.
that lives up to its name because I'm not exaggerating. It was probably like 100 feet tall. It was like 100-foot tall Wild
Well,
Mouse.
while you were on that, I ran and got you a ticket on the kitty, Willie the Worm, whatever.
Drew
Wacky
the-
Worm.
Drew the intern, get ready for this because you're gonna love this part.
So what I did is I went and I bought a ticket. Then I walked back. You weren't off the ride yet, so then I walked back again. You walked a different way than when I walked.
Can I talk about Wild Mouse XXL?
Sure.
What was cool is that the queue line, they kind of pulse it. And what's cool about that, or the reason why, is because there's a lot of funhouse effects. You're literally walking through like punching bags. You have those, you have the planks that go like this. You have the area where you're walking and it goes like this. There's the shaking. There's the shaking floor. There's a lot of cool effects.
Could have been 2 rides. A funhouse.
Ride in, yeah.
They could have charged you a lot more.
Not the first time I've experienced a funhouse queue line, and I hope it won't be the last, because those are kind of fun.
Sure.
So
you rode that.
Drew, the intern, perk up, because we're going to talk about Willie the Worm, where you're probably wondering, why would a coaster enthusiast celebrity like Drew the intern, why would he care about Willie the Worm? It was themed to A Bug's Life.
Yeah.
So it was like his R.I.P. Heimlich choo-choo train at Disney's California Adventure Park. So that's why that's true. That's why I said it. And you say the rest of the story, and then I'll say my version.
Okay. So you ride the Wacky Worm.
Mm-hmm.
We have 20 minutes to find the bus.
Yes. And I see
You thought it was Kate.
No, I actually saw her I could tell because she had the backpack that had the Mickey Mouse ears, or the Minnie Mouse ears. That's how I could spot her a bunch of times.
I didn't know she had the Minnie Mouse. I thought it was
Yeah.
a Minnie Mouse backpack with the pink.
Okay, fine, Minnie Mouse backpack, but she would wear that a lot.
It was black and it
Yeah.
had a pink bow on it.
That's how I could tell her. That's how I could tell her.
Okay.
And she was with John, right?
I guess. I
Jonathan?
didn't see him. We walked pretty fast
The guy
to try
who
and catch up
the
to
guy
him.
who wasn't
I know,
Tim.
But we tried to catch up to him. We could not find them.
Okay. So you tell the story and then I'll say my version.
So I got turned around in this fair and
You
kept saying, we were supposed to turn here, and I said, no, we have to go straight towards Olympia, looping, and then turn down.
You're forgetting the part where you asked someone.
Oh, we kept asking people. They kept sending us to the green pedestrian on the sign with an arrow, which is an exit. It's a true exit, yes. But it turns out to be that exit is for police cars, ambulance, rescue squads, whatever, coming in and out of the fair. So here it is.
Also,
go ahead.
The people at the fair were not as bilingual as Movie Park Germany. Movie Park Germany had very bilingual people.
We were supposed to leave at 5 o'clock. We had 20 minutes to try and find the bus.
We're supposed to leave at 5? Yeah.
And we could not find the bus. So thank God I had one of the team leads' phone numbers, and I called her and I said, we're lost.
How did you remember?
Remember what? You mentioned, why don't you call her? So I called her, and she said, come back into the into the fair. So we did that, and on our way into the fair, we met into. Oh, okay. You kept saying, I hope we find somebody else that is in our group.
And we did, Debbie.
Yes, we found Debbie. Debbie was headed out the same way that we went out,
and she was also hoping that she could find someone that was in the group. So I was like, well.
So then I called the group lead again, and I said, we found Debbie. And she goes, oh, good. Now all 3 of you come back into the fair, go to the drop tower. And it was my fault that we got turned around.
Okay,
because I kept going towards Olympia Olympia, whatever.
No.
Yeah. We were supposed to turn before that.
We were supposed to. I remembered that we walked past a slingshot ride. It was called Hot Shot, I think, or Hot Seat, something like that.
And I don't remember it.
And I also kind of remember the bumper cars, which I mentioned earlier. So we were supposed to turn We were supposed to turn left, but instead we just kept going straight, because even though I was like, I remember that. We walked by that, and you were like, no, we have to go this way. So,
I
uh,
was the reason that we were late to the bus.
if you're a Walt Disney World fan like Magic Kingdom, I'll give you an example. We were at the Barnstormer. We were supposed to make a turn at Dumbo to go right down Main Street and get out of the park. Instead, we walked to Big Thunder Mountain, basically. That's the best way I can say it. We should have taken a turn, but instead we walked very far, and that was not a very nice, that was not a very kind bus ride home, or to Efteling. And then when I showed people where we actually were, they were like, "Wow, you walked a distance." Yeah, and I was like, yeah.
So we were 20 minutes away from the slingshot drop tower, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then we had to walk 20 minutes back. So we ended up leaving the fair.
Like 40 minutes late.
So, but we were all
And
safe.
I lost some I lost some support. I didn't have much, um popularity in the group, and that didn't help at all. That hurt it
But a lot
beyond
of
belief.
people were still very happy that the three of us were safe and we made it back.
Yeah, after that we did a numbering system from now on, or from then on, and yeah. It was not a it was you would not be jealous of me in that situation, because I was the heel, or the I was the one who was the heel or the villain or something, even though I
Talked about.
yeah,
Yeah.
even though I didn't think I even though
Whatever, just
yeah,
let it go,
I
please.
was like, well, you need to know what
Let it
happened.
go. Let it go.
Great, now we've lost monetization. I'm kidding, we're not even monetized. Thank you, YouTube. So then we go to Efteling,
There's gonna be a
and
lot of editing.
I'm not gonna edit any of this. I'm just gonna merge this clip with that clip, and then I'm gonna post it.
Okay.
So, Efteling
So we get
was
to the hotel, Efteling Hotel.
yeah, Efteling was kind of like, why does he hate me? Why does he not like me? Why am I the bad person? I'm sorry. What did I do? What did I do? I'm not the bad guy. What happened? What did I say? What did I do?
What are you talking about?
How I was at Efteling.
Just forget it and move on.
You can't forget it. You know how I am. Okay, so I was thinking, well, so we go to Efteling, which, Efteling, maybe consider a back entrance to the
Oh.
hotel. Might help a little bit, just saying.
Maybe.
So this is when you can talk about the first ride we went on, because I was thinking, well, I'm kind of bummed, so I don't want to go on the coaster right now. Maybe this ride will help lighten my mood a little bit. It didn't, but yeah, I rode it. I would ride it a couple of times.
It seemed like it was going to be a very long line once you looked into the building.
Yeah, it was going to be like 40 minutes, but then it turned out to be an Omnimover, which really helped with capacity.
Yeah.
So we went on.
Faster.
Well, yeah, it's an Omnimover, which means constantly loading. We went on a bunch of them on this trip. And this was one of them. Why don't you talk about it? Because this was one of your 13 things you were looking forward to.
A lot of, what were the names of like elf-like people?
They weren't
Jock,
elves. Jokey, I think.
Jokey or something. Wasn't he like an elf?
Sure.
Well, they had two main characters going.
He looked
through
more like
this
a
whole
jester.
thing. And it, like you said, it's a Small World ripoff or whatever.
Yeah.
You just went around. There was music. You saw different scenery, different lands. If I remember, you're saying that I didn't remember it correctly, but I thought there was one section that had a lot of fairies in it and stuff.
That's Dream Flight.
But I thought there was fairies on this ride too. But they took you to different
Countries
areas
and
of the
worlds.
world and stuff.
And it stopped like twice at random spots, so we just saw the same thing over and over again. And spoiler alert, we rode it again the next day, and we actually recognized stuff that we didn't see the first time.
Right. And is this the one where the United States was
Represented by Hawaii.
So aloha.
So yeah, that was kind of weird. Oh, by the way, it did have a song, but it didn't have any lyrics to it. So I guess they wanted it to be, multicultural or bilingual or something. I don't know.
So you had countries of Europe in there.
Yeah.
And was it Mexico or Antarctica or something?
I think you might have had.
There was France.
Yeah, there was Italy.
Italy. Yeah.
There was the not racist at all. China and Japan sections.
Jamaica, or was it Jamaica or South Africa?
Africa, I think.
Africa. Okay.
So,
They had sumo wrestlers.
Yeah. They had some other Asian stuff, which that's not offensive at all. Anyway, anything else you want to say?
Nope, we rode it twice. We rode it that night and the day before. Then
day after.
You did ride.
Not the day before, the day after.
Day after. You did ride a couple coasters that
Yeah.
night.
Next up was Vogelrock, which I needed someone to tell me what that plot was about. I had no idea. The theme that I thought it was you were in the dark and a bird ate you. I thought that was what the plot was. It had very little effects. I know it was rethemed, but yeah, it had very little effects. And apparently someone looked it up, and the plot was Sinbad and the bird were fighting over who got to keep custody of a golden egg. Okay. So that was a little awkward. Or that was a little interesting. It was a little bumpy, but hey, I got to ride it. What was number 3?
Is it on the other page?
Yeah, it was Villa Volta, Vekoma Madhouse. Why don't you talk about it?
That was where we were in queue line.
Yeah.
And then we walked into this room that became dark.
Oh, I think we should call Villa Volta the Christopher Walken house.
Oh.
Because there's a younger picture of, I don't know, Mr. Volta or Mr. Villa. I don't know, the old dude. He looks exactly like Christopher Walken circa like 97, 98.
Yeah, younger version. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze.
That's what I found funny. I was like, is that Christopher Walken?
Yeah. Okay,
that wasn't the only celebrity surprise we found on this trip.
True.
We also found one at Europa Park. Spoiler alert, or we'll reveal that one. Anyway, it was Vekoma Madhouse. Not one of the best ones, not one of the worst ones.
True.
Although we did feel like we were like,
Yeah.
like we were upside down almost. That was and I think you loved this ride because of the seats, right?
No, they were hard. You kind of fell into them.
Yeah, they were kind of. You were kind of like in a bucket.
Yeah, but it was wooden. It wasn't cushiony.
Yeah, that's why I was joking that. Oh, you loved the seats, but it was a fun ride. Like you could handle it, right?
Yep, I did.
Mm-hmm.
I handled it.
What was number 4?
You rode one side of the two-sided coaster.
Yeah, George and the Dragon. I believe I rode the.
But you rode something before that. That white coaster or something. Looking at notes, because I numbered them.
No, that was afterwards.
Oh, you rode that after? No, you rode a ride before.
Not according to the... 1, Carnival Festival, 2, Vogelrock, 3, Villa Volta, 4, George and the Dragon. Not sure what I'm spoiling.
What then was number 5?
Okay, we don't have to talk about George and the Dragon.
No, what was number 5? George the Dragon.
Python.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, number 4 was George and the Dragon.
Which had 2 sides.
Yeah.
What were
And
they, fire or
fire
fuels?
and ice. Fire and water. You're thinking of Windjust. We'll get to that later.
Okay.
Yes, folks, she is still... her brain is still on vacation time. Give it about 7 months, and she'll remember which bride is which.
Probably not.
You said it, I didn't. So anyway, I went on one side of George and the Dragon. Park Scope Joe, I believe. I believe it was Joe. He said that it was a GCI that does everything. It does do everything. It just doesn't give you a lot of airtime. And I rode several GCIs. This one would be... It wouldn't be I would maybe rank this... I might rank this third out of the 3 I rode. I might have ridden more than that, but I know I at least rode 3, and we'll say later what my number 1 is. But this could be number 2 or number 3. After this, then I rode the Python coaster, and that's when we ran into was it Linda or Debbie? Debbie, and I also ran into James and Cassie, and that's when I found a little bit out as to what had happened on the bus. So anyway, then I rode Python, which, they said they retracked 95% of it to offer a smoother ride. Okay. Oh, shout out to Cassie, because this was her 400th coaster.
Yeah, they even gave her
she got a certificate.
Certificate, yep.
So, rock on, you're the coaster princess.
For that night.
That's okay to say, right? Well, we'll find out. Let's see, did I write anything else? I don't see a number 6 here.
Okay, you dragon, no.
Where's 6?
That's all you rode that night. Because we had to go, the park was closing.
Yeah, I was tired and I was depressed, and so, yeah. So then we left. Oh, wait. Now we should end it, because this is the end of day 1 and 2.
Woo-hoo.
So join us next time to find out what my 750th coaster was.
And if I rode anything.
Find out. Well, you already did.
I rode one thing at Movie Park, right? No,
you rode Villa Volta
at Efteling. But did I ride anything else there?
But yeah, find out what my 750th coaster was. Find out what our thoughts were about Symbolica, and find out what coaster turned out to be Debbie's 200th coaster.
And until then, good night.
Bye.